What do you know?
Well,
Looks like
well,
you're
well.
the last man standing.
Another lackey.
A cyclone! Flamethrower!
Hey, look at these guys holding it down.
Pillar of flame!
This is a lot better than usual. That is a lot better than that little spark they made when they were captives.
You've gotten stronger.
Hell yeah, they
I've been
have.
practicing every day. It's all thanks to what you taught us, Teru.
Yes, I love it. I love the parallel between growth and powers in the show, and how clear it is.
And I acted like I betrayed you to launch a surprise attack.
I knew it. Double fake.
Reagan said we didn't have to fight these guys head on, but I'm beginning to think
That's
otherwise.
not Teru's style.
We
Teru's the
have to
head-on
take
fight
a
kind of
step
guy.
back.
Teru's the man. He just grows on me more and more as time goes on. I mean, from the beginning, he's been great. There was just that one thing in his way. I feel like you meet people like Teru, like they're awe-inspiring and terrifying in the potential you see in them, but they got like something going on. You know, they got something they can't sort of let go of, or is kind of getting in their way, or shifting their focus to things that are not them being at their best. Things that if there was closure for, they would actually be a real threat in the world. And that's sort of what happened with Mob, right? Like Mob came along and kind of cleared away that baggage he had about like being number one and being unbeatable, and he just feels unblocked. The guy's a beast. Even after just taking a beating from Gohan, he hasn't slowed down one bit. Guidance. Psychic sensor.
Pathetic dogs. They forget how terrifying their master can be if he's not there to remind them every minute.
I see that fight with Gohan didn't go well.
I'm curious. Why are you being so cooperative?
Why are you being so cooperative, Gary? Why are you so cool all of a sudden?
There are times when I worry about what would happen if my brother went berserk with his powers. Right now, that's exactly what your father's doing.
That's a great point.
There he is. Hashima's
Oh no. This guy's everywhere at once.
By looking.
Right, teleporting.
He's really strong.
Good
a
instincts.
teleporter who can read his enemy's movements.
And also is invulnerable to attacks and bullets. And also is very good looking.
He's one of the strongest in the whole organization.
That's why I'm staying. In return, you've got to promise me you'll stop your father.
Ooh, Ritsu acting as a decoy. That's bold. But he can read all of this, though. I mean, they did such a good job with this villain,
Guess he's not gonna
honestly.
follow show.
Looking for me?
Oh, damn.
I've gone to that store with Ritsu before. Put back what you took. Stealing's a crime.
I love
You should know better.
the stakes of this relative to what's actually going on.
Could you actually plant and grow the vegetables in this sandwich? Or fix that glass door you broke? Could psychic powers heal someone who's sick?
This is really interesting.
None of you would be able to survive on your own, not without the help of other people.
Ooh, it's a really great take.
Power, you can make anyone submit to you.
Right, because life's all about power. At face value, he's asking simple questions, but there's a lot I really like in there. Like, for one, the humility is sort of staggering. You know, like, he has power, he could do what these guys are saying and bend people to his will, but he sees himself as part of the whole and also recognizes the fact that he is great is not something that exists solely in a vacuum starting from him. You know, there's a great arrogance in that, and I think there's also a great danger in seeing oneself or even humanity as something outside of the natural flow of the world or nature or beings that can single-handedly create and manipulate society or the environment or reality itself through force of will and intellect. But also in there is this idea of destruction versus creation. And it's really easy to tear things down, whether that means finding fault in something and critiquing it, or literally dismantling or destroying things. Much harder is finding ways to be constructive or solve problems in a way that doesn't shift the problem from one face to another, but actually makes things better systemically. And to take this to maybe somewhat of an absurd level, I often wonder if there isn't a link between creation and destruction, and morality and immorality, respectively. If for no other reason, just because although destruction seems to be a natural force of life, things are growing, and often growth seems to bring positive change. Complexity brings new layers of magic to reality. And it's sort of a miracle that anything can be built at all despite how easily things decay or are destroyed. Destruction does seem to play a pivotal role, but it seems like destruction is sort of warranted when the destruction leads to growth. Rampant destruction or violence that destroys potential, that destroys things that are growing without offering something great in its place, I feel are things often connected with tragedy, you know, unnecessary loss of human life, destruction through war. So for me, there's immediately a separation in the quality of existence and thought between Mob and these sort of artificial psychic goons. Just that Mob has respect for his part in the whole, creation itself, and for taking on a much more difficult challenge of actually making things better.
Never use your powers against others. If you haven't come across someone who can show you why, then allow me.
You want to play that power game? We can play the power game.
Looks like we had quite the stray show up at our doorstep.
Oh, it's Plant Dude. Surprisingly powerful Plant Dude. Way to make plant types actually feel threatening for once. Mob actually has experience fighting trees.
Fighting those more powerful than you is useless. You should join our side.
That might be a little
And Ritsu
easier.
knows he can't win. He's doing his job.
I always wanted to be able to use psychic powers, but now that mine have finally awakened, I've come to understand something.
Isn't that how it works?
What I really wanted was to give something every ounce of energy I had.
Yeah, I get that.
To ensure I could live a fun life.
Hell yeah, it's a great insight. I've had this experience myself where it's easy to get stuck on a very narrow viewpoint of what success means and what you need, and then failing to move in what feels like a positive direction towards that to draw the conclusion that it wasn't meant to be, or you're not one of the people who has some kind of special birthright or special fortune in vein of early Keith Shaddis philosophy, and to develop something like a bruised ego around that, since up to that point, you were making the very mistake that a lot of the show addresses, where you were over-identifying with certain things in order to give yourself value, when that's not actually where value was to be found. And then from that point, you're sort of stuck not wanting to venture out again because of how painful that was. And it's easy to sort of stay there indefinitely. But I think there's real beauty to recognizing that the goal itself, the tangible goal, is probably about something way more fundamental. It's probably about very basic things that come down to almost all of humanity, like feeling like one has a place in their social environment, having esteem from peers, having viable romantic relationships, having the ability to progress and grow and go towards things one wants, and not feeling trapped in that way. The great news about that, I think, is that once it's put in that light, it suddenly becomes a lot more achievable because there's so many more roads to that path that are immediately obvious. Speaking for my own life, there's a lot of things I'm really thrilled with that bring me great satisfaction that I never once mapped out, and there are a lot of things I thought I needed, things I was obsessed with or fixated on and had a great deal of anxiety or jealousy about that have sort of just slipped by the wayside because they've been replaced by other things that actually are a better fit, it turns out. And I found that the important thing is not getting what I want in exactly the way I conceived it, but getting what I need. And interestingly, in hindsight, I didn't even really know what that was. All you can do is sort of follow your best instinct and sort of listen to cues from yourself and the world. And that's what's been so delightful about Reese's journey. It was pretty obvious that psychic powers were not going to solve anything for him. It was obvious that he had a lot of things of great value already right in front of him. And he's basically boiled it down to a very human and also very achievable and in its way very elegant and simple desire just to live a good life and be himself, which I think interestingly is sort of in line with where Mob has been from the beginning.
He might not be such a good fit for us after all. No hard feelings.
Oh, what is he doing? It's like a death blast? Oh, someone actually scored a hit.
I managed to land a hit.
Oh, it's this guy. Yeah, he did. Great job.
You can read our moves, but at some point there'll be too many of us to keep up with.
Yeah, this is another
Time
recurring
for
theme. How
round
their powers are sort of made exponentially better in conjunction. Oh no, did you just get speared?
Not happening, freak.
This guy's good. Oh my god, wait a hit him with the whole sign.
Aren't you gonna shoot?
Wow, that was awesome. That was such a great POV.
Trying to pin me down is a waste of time.
Nice. Very cool.
Keep hitting him.
Teru's just leading the way.
The more we do, the easier it is to tell where he'll teleport.
This season is so filled with epic battles. Yeah, stronger than normal, which means I gotta use 1% of my power instead of the usual 0.
I'm happy to lend you a hand with him if you like.
This guy.
Anything but that! Even I can't control him! Don't touch it!
Dumbass. With Minagishi on our side, nothing scares us!
Whoops. Oh, he captured. Is it what I think it is? Yes. Whoa.
What is that?
Mogami.
Yeah, right. That was a terrible move. This adds a whole other, dimension to this fight.
Trapped me in the poison jar, and now you want me to devour espers. You're such lowly creatures.
I was just thinking about it too. I was thinking this whole battle kind of feels like lightweight for Mob after what he went through with Mogami, who is now part of this fight. This is a terrifying and very exciting turn of events.
There are things in this world that can't be solved with mere kindness. Sometimes
true.
it's necessary to be tough on people. If you can learn to do that, you will be invincible, Shigeo Kageyama.
And he turns into a beautiful tree. Speaking of plants. It's not wrong advice, right? To take what he was saying at first, I mean, you sort of get into a real crazy territory when you start to think that because people are capable of wrong, then you should nip them in the bud before they do wrong. Are you able to watch this guy forever? No, then you must kill him is obviously pretty patently villainous. But while I consider myself somewhat of an optimistic thinker in this regard, I definitely don't want to fall into being naive and thinking that kindness or empathy or sympathy will solve the world's problems with it. Somehow by my desiring virtuousness can be universally created and applied. It's not the case. There's always going to be force as a threat. There's always going to be people who will take advantage of kindness because they perceive it as weakness. And so we're sort of back at this dual path where it's neither idealism or pragmatism, but some optimal mix of both, as challenging as that is. But I love the
Mogami disappeared for good this
respect he just showed to Mob.
Be tough on people, huh? I'm not very good at that.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a softie.
You've never cared about a damn thing I did or said.
Should have attacked while playing the obedient son. What a wasted opportunity. Now don't get in my way any further.
The condescension. I'm still disappointed in you, Gary. Finally get a little taste of this guy in action. He's got multiple powers.
He's mocking me.
These techniques are child's play.
And a lot of elements. You should be more like me, detached. I care about nothing, which makes me strong.
3 months worth of stored up energy. Charge bomb! Hell yeah! Justice prevails!
No, I don't think so.
This is just his rebellious phase.
Oh no. Man, the disrespect is something else. I feel like Gary could be converted if his father just gave him a little bit of love. His motivation is a mix of actual outrage at this plan and wanting Dad's attention, it seems.
The real reason I went around the world was to see if global domination would actually be possible. But after my search, I couldn't find a single Esper stronger than me anywhere.
Wow, that's a huge realization.
And you think that
Yeah.
somehow gives you the right to take over the world?
It definitely gives him the ability. Hard not to push that button if you have it.
You're so cool.
He's also great at climbing the corporate ladder.
I have the same ability.
What?
Didn't I tell you? I've spent the past 20 years preparing for this moment.
Oh, he's gathering energy.
Would you like to see a little of what I've been saving up?
Yeah, I kind of do actually. Seems cool.
Stars don't know when to quit, do you?
You just shoot that guy?
Every one of you was considered damaged goods from the start.
I'll show you damaged telekinetic healing!
I love the self-own in that.
Even my most basic abilities as an Esper are far more powerful than all of yours combined.
I mean, he doesn't seem wrong. Just having fun with him. I'm starting to think that the Gohan thing was not accidental. The Gohan resemblance. This is very Dragon Ball Z. If Gohan was a dick.
From behind! How did you... It might be convenient to be able to read your opponent's moves, but it makes your own movements really simplistic.
It's a pretty meta chess game they're playing.
The world's greatest Esper is yours truly.
Don't flatter yourself.
There's Mob. You haven't met Mob yet.
Why, you...
You're right. It's when he's distracted. Nice one.
Nice.
Way to go, Ritsu!
Teru's beating him with his wits and steel balls. And of course, teamwork.
Get a hold of yourself!
He's rattled.
Mind's eye!
He was saving something. It's a little disheartening, but also awesome. It's so cool. I actually feel like they can sort of have their cake and eat it too here. Teru is already the man for having fought this well, but I want to see the matchup between this guy and Mob. Speaking of which,
It feels like something with tremendous energy.
he
is heading
immediately
this way.
recognizes it.
I'm pretty sure I know who that would be.
We all know who that is. He's so damn terrifying.
Now come at me and I'll face you head on!
Self-defense
Oh, Reagan!
rush! Reagan's special move.
Self-defense
It's
rush.
unclear if it's actually
I'm not sure if that was self-defense exactly.
Self-defense just to be safe.
It's a brilliant tactical move on all levels. That was even better than Mob fighting him.
What should I do?
The terror.
Master, this one is actually really strong. So please step back. I can handle him.
It's already been handled.
It's not worth the risk. I'm done.
Well, that was a lot easier than I thought it'd be.
Join us.
As long as I'm having fun, I don't really care.
Join us.
You disrupted the lives of all those people just for that?
Yeah, I mean, he's
serious?
bad. Ooh, Mob is pissed.
I'm pretty sure he's gone for good.
That's a shame. I really enjoyed him. Maybe he'll be back for season 3.
I'll go in alone.
Wait, Kageyama, what are you talking about?
I want to go too. One of my friends already went in.
No. This might be hard to hear, but you'll just be in my way.
Right, he can fight a lot more freely.
So that's how Shigeo interpreted what Mogami told him.
Standing up for himself. Right, Dimple safe. Wow, this is geared up to be one hell of an epic battle. Oh, after credit scene.
Scared to do this on your own?
Of course. But still, having someone else get hurt scares me even more.
I'm trying to take advantage of him while he's still a kid. But Shigeo's going to be an adult before I know it.
Drop the act, Dimple. Dimple doesn't acknowledge his own growth.
Are you even in middle school?
Oh no, are you even in middle school?
Would you be so kind as to leave the premises?
How powerful is Umbrella Guy really? I mean, he's being set up as the second in command dude. Gohan's been defeated, and this guy's more powerful? It's the Umbrella. It's got the power of Toru inside of it. About what Mom just said about he is afraid, but he's more afraid of people getting hurt. I think people who are even really fearful can sort of get around that if they just become afraid of the right things. People will do all sorts of things to terrify them if the alternative is more terrifying. It's not that they weren't afraid of those things. They were deathly afraid of those things. It's just that they were way, way more afraid of something else, and that's what pushed them there. And depending on what those fears are, this can be a really terrible and destructive thing, but it can also be a constructive thing if there's sort of a heightened awareness developed of what the risks to oneself are of not pushing oneself forward. Like, there's a certain hell that I think that exists in sort of letting yourself stagnate or sort of worse, backslide on things that just don't feel right but are kind of easier, especially with momentum, to slip into than it would be to fight for something better. But I think meditating or just reflecting on those things can have a really powerful effect. It's like, man, this is the trajectory I'm on. You know, this is where I'm headed if I don't do something now. Is this what I want to be forever? If I just wait, are the things I want going to come? Is a helping hand going to suddenly reach down and pull me up to where I want to be? Probably not. And I think in a lot of cases, that concept of never realizing that potential, you know, never realizing the things that we know would be great, has a way of often being more terrifying than like suffering some temporary embarrassment or some hard work in trying to pursue some great endeavor. And of course, what those motivators are will depend on the person. You know, for Mom, it seems like his greatest fear is other people around him being hurt, and he fears that more than he fears for his own life and not being able to defeat this boss who ends up seeming pretty damn powerful. As cool, as exciting that makes the upcoming few episodes.